What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing well. I'm always looking for ways to make SEO more accessible to everybody because I know we hear those three letters and it's like the wrath of terror, something shows up inside of our systems and we're like, ooh, SEO. It doesn't have to be like that. There are so many different things you can do to leverage SEO without even really understanding much about SEO, honestly. So today, I'm going to offer you a hack to get your blog off the ground using SEO without having to really understand SEO. Do you know what I mean? I'll explain as we get into it. In case you haven't binge watched all of my videos about blogging and SEO, just a mini crash course on what SEO is. SEO stands for search engine optimization. Basically, when we put up a website or anything on our website, it's nice to try to create that website in a way that Google can then figure out what you're talking about and put it in front of the eyeballs of people who are interested in seeing your website. And there's a lot of ways to leverage SEO, but blogging is, in my opinion, one of the most effective ways, especially for us as therapists. We just have so much content that we can put out there into the world to help people. Over the last couple of years or so, Google has shifted away from who's making the most amount of content with the most amount of keywords stuffed into their content and more towards who has the most helpful content on a particular topic. Not about the most abundant content, but the most quality content that if somebody lands on your page, they're going to find whatever you have to say super helpful. So now when you sit down for a blog post, just anticipate that you're kind of strapping yourself in. You're probably not going to bang out a whole blog post in an hour. I suggest taking a bit more time these days, maybe every month or maybe every 3 months, you create a high quality blog post. And I'm telling you, if you just chip away slowly at it, it's going to pay off. Now, all that prefacing out of the way, let's dive into this hack. I'm sure you're wanting to know what is the thing I'm trying to teach. The first step is to head over to Ubersuggest. I have that linked in the description box below, and you can follow along with me if you want. And my suggestion is if you're just checking this out, just sign up for the free profile. Honestly, I'm still using the free profile. I have never paid a dime for any of this, and it's good enough for me. Here we are. We're in Ubersuggest. Let's get started. So once you log in, you're on your main dashboard. They encourage you to start a project. You don't even have to worry about that if you don't want to. Just go over to the left-hand column and click on Keyword Research. And then from there, click Keyword Overview. Now you'll see a box on the top of the screen where you can type in a keyword. We're not going to explain what the word keyword means, but I would just suggest that whatever sort of topic you're thinking about writing on or your specialty in general, to write a 1 or 2 word phrase, maybe 3 words at most, about the topic that you're interested in. Since I want to do a little bit of research about spiritual abuse, I'm going to go ahead and type that in as my keyword in the search bar. And then whatever you type in, go ahead and click search. Okay, so at this point, it's going to spit out a whole bunch of incredibly useful information. However, if you don't know anything about SEO, you might look at this and say, what the heck is this? You might get overwhelmed. If that's you, don't even worry about this. That's not even the hack that we're going to talk about today. So we're just going to go over on the left-hand column and click on Content Ideas. Once you're in this Content Ideas tab, it takes the keyword that you typed into the search bar and shows you the best performing websites and blog posts that are showing up in Google search results for that search term. The top website showing up is something called 25 Signs of Spiritual Abuse, and then it gives us some data about it. This website gets 517 visitors per month. And excuse me, not just the whole website, that specific blog post is getting clicked on 517 times every single month. And it's getting 14 backlinks, which you don't actually have to understand what backlinks are in order to use this hack. And then it breaks down the social media shares that it's received from Facebook, Pinterest, and Reddit. So this blog post is performing really well, especially in a little bit more of a niche search term. And that tells us that it's doing something correctly. So it's helpful for us to learn from this particular website. Now, Ubersuggest actually has a whole list of other posts and websites that are showing up for this search term that you typed in, but we really just want to pick one blog post that's performing pretty well. Now, of course, I pre-researched this episode. I chose a keyword that would pop up with results that kind of fit as far as these numbers. You might type in your search query and the top results are popping up with like 2 visitors a month, 10 visitors a month, in which case I would suggest trying a different keyword, because that's telling us something about like people are maybe not searching that keyword that you just typed in. So see if you can modify it until you land on results that have more clicks, more visits to those websites every single month. So ideally, just ballpark, if you could find something on this list that has at least 75 visitors a month and at least a couple backlinks, bonus if there's some social shares over here, that is a pretty good place to start. So once you've found an article that kind of meets those criteria, go ahead and click on it. It's going to take you to the article itself. Once you click on the article, go ahead and read through it with, genuine, curious eyes to say, what does this person or this business have to say about this topic that seems to be doing decently well in the Google algorithm? People seem to be finding it helpful. So whichever post you're reading through, once you've gotten to this step in the process, you're probably going to notice a combination of things. You're probably going to notice some items that sound really helpful, like, oh, yes, I'm so glad that they talked about that. And your therapist knowledgeable brain will also have some commentary about things that you might do differently. Like maybe I would approach this differently, or, I'm just going to make this up. Let's say if I look through these signs of spiritual abuse and I think, oh, it's not, I have 5 more signs. This person has 25. I would list 30. So at this point in the process, you've kind of seen this article that's already performing pretty well. And the question you want to ask is, how could I make this article better? Basically, the idea is you want to say like, okay, this was a helpful article. Clearly it's helping people. Can I make it even more helpful? How do I add on top of it? How do I improve it somehow? There might be entire sections you would add. You might approach it completely differently, which is a good thing. That might actually be more helpful for the folks that you're wanting to speak to. Generally, the model here is like, how do I take this great piece of content and make it better and make it also mine? So usually the posts that we find that are performing really well, like this one, are good blog posts. So if we're going to make them better, we're probably going to have to put in a decent amount of work. This is a project. It's not like bang out a quick blog post in an hour. And please, 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 please do not copy and paste anything at all that you find in this piece of content that you're evaluating. And if anything, you might restructure and take a completely different approach. That's all the better. Please do not just regenerate existing content. That's just a bad idea for so many reasons. Now, you might make an outline and think things through like that, but before you go ahead and like write out the whole post, if you want to just take your SEO to the next level, just pop back over to your Ubersuggest search. And next to where you see this article that you just clicked on listed, there's a column called estimated visits, which is how many times somebody clicks on that article every month. And next to the number, you'll see it says keywords with a little drop down arrow. If you click on the keywords button, it's going to give you all the different keywords that rank for this article. So remember, the search term that I had typed was spiritual abuse. We're going to find a lot of synonyms popping up in here. Instead of spiritual abuse, here's this keyword spiritually abusive, which the next column says that 2,900 people type this in Google search every single month. Now, you don't have to understand anything that's going on in all these columns of data, but effectively what I'm encouraging you to do is to focus on this list of keywords and find ways to organically drop them throughout your blog post. So it might be, right now I'm using the term spiritually abusive, and then later I might be using the term spiritually abused, and then spiritual abuse. And then here's what is spiritual abuse is also a term on here. Maybe I'll also make sure I sprinkle that into my article, but you just organically sprinkle these terms in where they fit, where they flow in the conversation of your post. Whew. Well, I feel like we covered a lot of ground today. Now, I did not mean the title of this episode to be clickbaity at all. I genuinely believe if this is the only hack that you use in your approach to blogging on your website, it is going to be effective over time. Find a pace that works for you. It may mean that each blog post takes a month. It may mean it takes a quarter. Don't worry about churning it out quickly. Just focus on making really helpful content. So I hope this was helpful to you. I know blogging can be daunting and hard, so I'm here to try to support you. And I'm looking forward to applying these same tools to some of the blogs that I'm hoping to write here pretty soon as well. And before we close, I'd like to thank TherapyNotes.com for sponsoring this video. Therapy Notes helps with all of your practice management needs, from scheduling to notes to billing. They have a HIPAA-secure telehealth platform included for free for all users, and so much more. If you'd like to check out Therapy Notes, you can get 2 months to try it for free with no commitment just by clicking the link in the description of this video. Whew. Well, I love talking about blogging. Can you tell? I just love it. So I hope you found this helpful, and I'm curious if you have any tips that work really well for you to get you in the flow of blogging, because I understand it can be really hard to get into it. Then feel free to leave those comments below so others can learn from you as well. And until next time, from one therapist to another, I wish you well.